Please help me. I can't take it anymore.
I called my husband, Dominic, while a business trip. I told him that my mother-in-law has me every single day and I can't take it anymore, which is why I called. But I'm not sure if it's a good idea to use this method.
You know that I'm working right now.
I could hear how irritated Dominic was on the phone, and I got a little nervous.
As my wife, you're supposed to be endure all the difficulties. So, to be honest, if you're not aware, have to be patient or endure such difficulties, then you're not fit to wife at all. If you ever call me again, I will not allow you to call me anymore. All right. Don't you dare bother me about these things again, and just listen to what my mother had. That's all.
And just saying that, Dominic hung without even hearing what I needed. I just only wanted him to help me. I cried and dialed again, but my husband never picked up. Oh, finally, I see. This man is never going to help me. I closed my eyes while I cried. My name is Bella. I got married to my husband, Dominic, ago. Dominic was a salesman at the company I joined as a new employee, and as his subordinate, he had taught me much about the work and how the company operated. At the time, I found him wonderful so when he began to approach really happy, we ended up dating less than a year after we joined the company. And in our second winter together at the company, Dominic proposed. I had actually intended to continue after we got married, but Dominic insisted that I continue working at the company.
A husband is supposed to make things his wife. Besides, it would be more convenient if we were thinking about having a future.
I could understand his point of view, but I also had my own reasons for wanting to do it. I needed to be prepared to give up I had built up over the years, and all. I was proud of my current job. In the end, however, my opinion did through. I was told to quit work, and I was leave the company before I began my year at the company. Dominic and I had talked about many before we got married. But the thing most concerned about was the house. Both of us had been living alone, but suggested that we move in together. We got married.
I'll never be responsible for getting our please just terminate the contract place that you're living in right now. We've already got the property, so move there soon enough.
When I asked him questions about what house it was, Dominic never told me about it or the details of the house. He said it was a surprise, but worried about it. I was worried about what kind of tenant would move in, but he had no hesitation terminating the contract on the place he lived currently. So I also terminated the agreement on my current property. And that was how I was brought into Parents' house. I complained to Dominic about it, but he replied in a grumpy manner.
My mom has been living on her own since my dad passed away a few years ago. Don't you feel sorry for her? She's your husband's family, so darn depressed about it.
Even so, wouldn't it be nice to have about it beforehand? You should take into consideration, too.
What the heck? You don't want to live together with my family that much? I've asked a lot of people around me. One dislikes the idea as much as you. So it seems like you're the one who personality.
As Dominic said that, he shook his to say that I was the one who was. I had so many things I wanted to say to him, but I already had nowhere to go and no home. So I didn't have enough courage to refuse and leave. Thus, I began my life with my mother, Abby. Well, actually, living with Abby was a wonderful experience. I often hear stories about wives who are harassed by their husbands' mothers, but Abby never did that to me. In fact, I was the one being taken more by Abby than me taking care of.
I am so happy that a nice girl like married my son, and I'm so glad that you're going to be with us. I've been so lonely by myself. Thank you.
Abby had treated me like her real dad. She helps me with my share of the housework chores, and she's perfect at baking. She's taught me all kinds of recipes.
For the first time in a long time, like I'm having fun every day.
Like this, Abby has never forgotten me. Seeing this wonderful side of Abby, it's hard to believe she ever wanted to die. After 3 years of living with Abby, it was time for Dominic and I to move on, to have a baby. If I got pregnant, Abby would definitely help me, so I wouldn't have to worry. Besides, I wanted to make Abby happy by showing her the face of her grandchild as soon as possible.
Dominic, honey, don't you think it's start thinking about having a baby?
When I asked Dominic, he stared at he had seen something he didn't like.
If you really feel that way, why don't you try your best to be attractive more? We've been spending so much time together lately that I haven't been able to talk to you as much, and I haven't been looking at your woman.
Was speechless when he said that.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. You would want to show your own moth face of her grandchild as soon as see, wouldn't you?
Then Dominic thought for a moment and answered as if he was a little annoyed.
I'm tired from work today. Let's talk tomorrow.
Dominic's nonchalant attitude continued until he didn't seem to be giving it much serious thought. He was also coming home extremely one-a-days. Even though he was a salesman, he wasn't supposed to work that late, but he was coming home very late, around midnight.
Hey, aren't you coming home very late days? With your job, there is no work that you to stay that late, is there?
Oh, shut up. You've only been in the company for years, so what do you know about Mike? I go home tired, and you can't even be grateful for what I do around here.
This is how Dominic has been lately. It feels like a long time ago when get along well with each other. I'm sure that if I let things continue like this, our marriage will collapse soon. But Dominic doesn't seem to have the supportive feelings to even be there for me. Not knowing what to do, I decided to Abby about what has been happening. She took my feelings into consideration, comforting me with kind words.
Yes? Then let's do this. Let's have Dominic worry about you. He'll be more serious.
And what she suggested was that I won. Dominic and tell him that Abby was me badly.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't make you happy. You have always been so good to me. But I just can't give you what you want.
I am happy enough that you feel that way, Bella. Besides, I want to see my grandchildren as soon as possible. So, I want you to have a good relationship as a husband and wife.
Abby gently persuaded me to go through with the plan to get Dominic worried about her. Dominic was off work that day, but he had gone for a drive to get away from distractions and to get refreshed. I called him during his lunch break, and he answered the phone sounding slightly irritated.
What is it? I'm driving and feeling all good, but you call me and ruin these good vibes. Now you're just going to ruin the fur.
Hey, I actually have something to don't feel comfortable talking to you at home. Actually, Abby is harassing me very.
I continued the conversation. Acting was whispering so people wouldn't hear. Next to me, Abby was having her hand mouth, desperately trying not to burr laughing. I was looking forward to seeing how husband would react. But what came mouth were just so shocking to hear.
You're the wife, so you're supposed with it. You're saying that my mom is harassing me, but I think that it's partially your fault for being so useless too, don't you? You don't even work anyway, you just home, so you at least should put up. Also, my mom must be going through me, and maybe everything I do is getting on her nerves, you know. The only thing mom's looking for would probably be harassing you, so just let it.
Dominic laughed it off as he said this, and this just left me speechless. Plus, I could hear a woman's voice in the background of our phone call.
The only thing that your wife is worried about is taking care of your old man. Ha ha.
I heard those words just before I hung up the phone. As I hung up the phone, Abby and I each other. The conversation I had with Dominic's speaker so that Abby could hear ever we're saying.
I can't believe Dominic would say those things about you, Bella.
Then we both shouted, "That's absolutely unacceptable." acceptable. And the woman's voice we heard over was clearly talking to Dominic. When Dominic left this morning, he said he was going for a relaxing day alone, but I never thought he would be with another woman. I also suspected him of cheating, but he wasn't going to tell me if I asked him about it. I discussed with Abby and decided to, through with pretending of not know, we found any sort of proof. A few days later, Dominic suddenly announced that he had to go on a bus trip.
I'll be gone for a few days, so please care of my mom and the house for me. Don't cry if my mom harasses you.
Dominic left the house with a smile face, and I could see that this man going to the business trip for work. When I tried to call him at night or times, he would answer his phone. I sent him a message. He wouldn't. It seems that he doesn't intend to be away from home during his business trip. Taking advantage of this, Abby and me immediately contacted an investigator to investigate Dominic's affair. And the results of the investigation were immediate. And our theory was right. And it seemed that he wasn't very good at hiding his affair, and there were many photos of him getting along with his mistress in different places. All of these photos were taken during a business trip. When my mother-in-law and I saw Dominic and his mistress, we could do nothing but just sigh.
I don't remember raising him to be of a scumbag. I'm so disappointed in that boy.
More than the affair, I was angry at for making Abby feel that way. So I immediately called him. I thought he wouldn't answer anyway. Time he happened to answer.
Dominic, what are you doing now? Aren't you supposed to be at work?
I accused him in a pretty direct way, and Dominic yelled back at me, being all surprised.
Of course, I am working. I went out of my way to pick up your call in the middle of my busy schedule, you jerk, because you're not being inconsiderate of her feelings. My mom harasses you. Say any more nonsense and I'll tell my mom too.
Dominic was still thinking that Abby bullying me, even though it was a bylie. He probably thinks that if he is picking on his wife, Abby would be on his side. But Abby herself was standing next to me, red-faced and angry with Dominic. Dominic, who didn't know about this, laughing away, saying terrible thing.
You accuse me of having an affair, but actually you're having an affair and you're worried. I wonder who you're with now, Bella. Are you actually with a guy or some? Well, I know that it's not possible. You're not that attractive as a woman. After all, women are all about their ass. You need to learn something about that.
Behind Dominic's laughter, I could hear a woman laughing. With everything Dominic had said to me, I was so hurt that I could barely hold back tears.
Dominic, how did you become such a lousy human being?
Suddenly, startled by his mother's Dominic jumped up.
You're together with Bella? Why, I thought you two didn't get along?
Unlike you, how can I be on bad terms such a nice Girone? I can't believe you're cheating on making her so sad like this.
Wait, Mom. Firstly, I don't understand what you mean by me cheating on Bella. Bella must have told you lie anyway. I'm on a business trip, and this is my first time in this city. Please believe me.
Then, is it okay if we contact thee about it?
And immediately, Dominic began to paw more. To the company, he must have taken a vacation trip. The business trip was a lie from the beginning.
I can no longer consider a man like son. My love for you as your mother is gone. There is no place for you here, and have to come back here anymore.
Saying that, Abby hung up the phone. As I froze at Abby's yelling, which I had never heard from her before, she gave me a gay, usual, gentle smile.
Well, let's get ready, shall we?
We then immediately began to prepare and leave the house. I sent my important things to my parents' house for now and left only the signed divorce papers onto the table. Abby apparently owned a vacation home Dominic didn't know about, and I had to move everything, including furniture, from there that day.
I'm giving this house away. That boy will be spoiled as long as that I am here. I have to make sure he gets a good for the mistakes he made.
Abby said this with a smile and also suggested that people could replace the locks on their doors. A few days later, Dominic finally see and was at a loss when he tried to house. He could not get in touch with Abby either, and he was forced to sleep hotel for a while. Even when he went back to work, he took a break. We had reported his affair to Dominic's company as well. When his boss saw the photos of Dominic's affair, he immediately turned pale. Actually, the woman with whom Dominique Strauss-Kahn was allegedly having an affair was apparently the wife of one of his colleagues. Knowing that the whole company confessed about his affair, he was immediately sent to apologize to his client, but there was no way he could be forgiven. It was a major company, but the contracts were terminated due to what happened, and that caused tremendous damage to Dominic's company. Everyone at work found out about Dominic's affair, and he resigned. A few days later, having lost his position in the company, the last time I saw him was when we were communicating through the lawyer for a divorce and alimony due to his affair. Seeing Dominic become so depressed, realized that if you do the wrong thing, you'll always get hurt. I also filed a claim for alimony with Dominic's mistress, and Dominic was also being sued from his mistress. The mistress had also been disowned by her parents and kicked out of their house, which is why she was suing Dominic. Dominic will have to deal with them, but he will continue to have a hard time. I don't really care what happens to him. Dominic and I are divorced now, but kept in touch with Abby. Her vacation home was actually located near my parents' house. I would occasionally visit her and eat sweets that Abby made and catch up with each other. It was a difficult few years, but now I'm having a great time with Abby. It was all a good learning experience for me. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.